So let's talk about something that affects pretty much all of us in this digital world, managing our files. If your computer feels like a total chaotic mess right now, don't worry, we're about to show you how to turn that digital chaos into a system that's, well, perfectly organized. I mean, you know that feeling, right? That little bit of panic when you're digging around for that one important file. It could be a report, a photo, maybe a presentation. You absolutely know you saved it somewhere, but your desktop is a minefield and your documents folder is, well, it's a maze. It feels like a digital junk drawer, and it is so frustrating.
But what if I told you that the answer to this super modern problem isn't new at all? Nope. In fact, it's a concept that's been around for ages, long, long before computers were even a glimmer in someone's eye.
That's right, the good old-fashioned filing cabinet. This picture, it says it all. Managing your computer files is really no different than managing paper documents. Once you get your head around this one simple idea, I promise you, everything else just clicks into place.
Okay, so let's start with the cabinet itself. On a computer, of course, we don't call it a cabinet. We call it the file system, and that's the fundamental structure that holds everything together for us. The easiest way to think about it is this. A file system is basically the rule book your computer uses to organize everything. It's what turns your hard drive from what would be a giant, jumbled mess of data into a neatly organized library where you can actually find things.
And, if the file system is the cabinet, then a file, well, that's just a single document inside of it. It's any collection of information, a picture, a song, a text document that we've given a name and a place to live. Simple as that. So how does the computer actually keep track of all these millions of files? Well, think about a physical document. It has a title, maybe a date stamped on it. Digital files are exactly the same. They have these things we call attributes. The best way to think about these attributes is like a file's ID card. It's got a name, obviously. It has a unique identifier, so the computer never gets it mixed up with another file. It's got a type, a location, or an address. It knows its own size. It has protection settings to say who can use it, and even a timestamp for when it was created or last changed. All this background info is what helps the system manage it all. Now, one of the most important attributes you'll see is the file's type, and that usually shows up as a file extension. That little part after the dot, like .docx or .pdf. That little tag is what tells your operating system what kind of file it is, and crucially, which program it should use to open it. It's basically a label that says, hey, you're gonna need Microsoft Word for this one. Okay, so we know what a file is. We know it has an ID card, but what can we actually do with one? Well, just like with a piece of paper, there are a few fundamental things we do with files all the time.
It really boils down to 6 core things. 1, we can create a file from nothing. 2, we can write new info to it. 3, we can read what's already there. 4, we can move our cursor around inside it to edit a specific part. 5, we can delete it when we don't need it anymore. And number 6 is an interesting one. We can truncate it, which basically just means erasing everything inside, but keeping the empty file itself.
All right, this is where the theory becomes real life. Now that we've got the building blocks down, let's actually talk about how to build your own perfect, organized digital filing cabinet. Every great system has to have a starting point. So you need to think of a root folder, something like your My Documents folder, as the main drawer of your entire cabinet. This is going to be home base for your whole personal organization system. So inside that main drawer, you start creating your primary folders. These are for the big, broad categories of your life. You might have one for work, another for personal photos, maybe one for finances. It's just like those big hanging folders you'd see in a real cabinet. And from there, we start to drill down. Let's say we go inside that work folder. Here, you can create subfolders for all your different projects, or maybe different clients. See? Now we're getting more specific and making things way easier to find. And you don't have to stop there. You can keep nesting folders inside of other folders. So inside a project folder, you could have more folders for drafts, final versions, and source materials. This right here is how you get to that ultimate clarity where you never lose a file ever again. And actually creating these folders, the basic building blocks of our whole system, is unbelievably easy. You just go to where you want it, choose New Folder from the menu, give it a name that actually makes sense, and hit Enter. That's it. You've just created a new organized section in your digital cabinet. And hey, here are a few quick tips to make your life even easier. If you want to select a whole bunch of files at once, just click the first one, hold down the Shift key, and then click the last one in the list. Boom, all selected. To rename a file, just a simple right-click and rename. This is huge for staying organized. Calling a file 2024 Q3 Sales Report instead of Document 1 is a game changer. Oh, and don't forget, when you delete a file, it usually just goes to the recycle bin, so you have a second chance before it's gone for good.
At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this one simple idea. I mean, you wouldn't just throw all your important mail into a random drawer and just hope you can find it later, right? You'd create a system. Your digital life deserves that exact same level of care. So the structure is already there for you, the tools are super simple, and the benefits, they're huge. Your very own perfectly organized digital filing cabinet is just waiting for you to build it. The only real question left is, where are you going to start?